So if you've been trying to open a bank account here in the UK, the chances are you've been asked to prove your address. And getting proof of address in the UK can be tricky, especially if you're new here. So in this video, we're going to cover this topic in depth, giving you all the information that you need. Now look, as we all know, this can be a frustrating time. You've just moved to the UK or you're planning on moving here in the coming weeks and months. You're maybe starting a job or you've just started one. You just rented a property and you need an account to schedule all of those direct debits. Well, unfortunately, these things can take time, and to side with the banks just for a second, we've got to understand firstly why they require this information from us. And it's basically a security measure. It helps make sure that accounts can't be opened for criminal purposes. And these are traditional methods. Banks have been doing this for years. That being said though, whilst we're on the topic of traditional and the topic of banks, between me and you, traditional banks can be a little bit outdated. So as an alternative option, and a very good one at that, may I add, you should check out Wise. Now I'll go into it in more depth later, but the long and short of it is that you might end up saving yourself a ton of time and lots of hassle if you were to choose Wise over a traditional bank. To put it simply, proof of address is a document that states your current address. Like its name says, it shows where you live at the moment. And the truth is that each bank actually has its own list of documents that they deem acceptable. And they might also have their own set of processes that might differ from bank to bank. For example, some banks may accept copies or printouts of these documents, whereas other banks may require the original. Basically, before you submit any documents, it's worth checking with the specific bank. But here's a list of what most banks will accept as proof of address. A valid UK driving licence, a recent utility bill, this could be gas, electricity, water, or a landline phone, just as an example. A council tax bill, now this one has to have been issued in the last 12 months. A recent credit card or bank statement, a recent building society or credit union statement, or a tenancy agreement. Now, as I mentioned at the start of this video, you might struggle to get your hands on any of these documents, and that's because you might be new to the UK or you might not even have moved here yet. And in one of our most recent videos when talking about how to open a bank account here in the UK, I said this. In recent years, banks have become a lot more flexible in terms of what they will accept for proof of address. And there is also another way. Just hear me out, hear me out. Before you leave for the UK, go to your bank and ask them to change your old address to your new UK address. You may also be able to do this via internet banking. Simply ask your bank to send you a bank statement to that new address by post. And then you will have a document that proves your UK address. I hope that made sense, but there are options available to you. And in fact, some high street banks do offer solutions. And common solutions include the following. A letter from your university, college, or language school if you've come to the UK to study. Your UCAS details or a letter from the student loan company might also be acceptable in this case. A letter from your employer confirming your address, or a letter referring you from an existing customer of that bank who can verify your address. Now you might be again wondering, are there any banks here in the UK that don't require proof of address? And the short answer is no. All of the main banks here in the UK will require some form of proof of address. Like I said before though, these can vary. And they can also change, so I'll reiterate again that it's best to contact the specific bank. Now it's worth mentioning and actually really helpful to know that most banks will encourage you to give them a call to discuss your options. With that said, our amazing blog team here at Wise researched all of the leading high street banks and wrote articles about each one individually regarding proof of address. I'll link all of those in the description below, but just like I said, be aware that these do change. But hopefully it will give you a good idea of what they might require. And then finally, as promised, let's get back to Wise and go into it in just a little bit more detail. So Wise is an easy, low-cost way to manage your money. And my favorite thing about the Wise account, and this is just a personal thing, I'll let you into a little secret, another one. I feel like we're getting to know each other today, but I'm a very forgetful person. I lose things a lot. But look at the Wise card, like look how bright it is. Me personally, I'll never, or I like to think, I'll never lose this card because it is bright, it stands out. And it's cool. And also you can use this in over 200 countries worldwide, which again, if you're a traveler, if you like to travel, if you're going to be traveling regularly, It's awesome. And so you're probably wondering what Wise requires for proof of address. And well, to open an account, you will first need to provide some sort of identification, such as a passport. Then you can choose between two options when it comes to providing proof of address. You can either supply the proof from a standard list of documents, or send us a selfie holding your proof of ID. This can be a great option and alternative if you haven't yet moved to the UK, and as we've discussed, if you haven't got any paperwork or bills registered in your name yet. Also, as mentioned, Wise is a multi-currency account. This allows you to hold money in over 50 currencies. So if I was a betting man, I would bet that you have still some money left in your previous currency. Well, with Wise, there's no need to have two separate accounts. You can store your old currency and your new pounds in the one account with Wise. You can easily transfer money to and from each currency, and other currencies too if you wish. This is often faster, and it means that you will avoid the hefty fees that the banks might charge you for the same service. So that's it. Like I said, make sure to check out Wise. I'll leave the link in the description below. We wish you all the best here, and we hope that you get things sorted as soon as possible and with the least amount of stress. We also hope that you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, then please consider subscribing as well as hitting that notification bell just so you don't miss another upload.